Peace, everybody is here. Just want to make sure everybody is here can hear. Okay, peace, everyone. We're going to be speaking with our brother, Minister Khnum, today. I saw this brother's YouTube channel. Don't even know really how I found it, but I'm glad I did. The brother was speaking some truth, and that's why he's here today. We're going to drop some truth, and ask some real questions, and get to some real answers. This is something that I really think, but not think, I know you're going to want to share this. You're definitely going to want to watch it. So I'm asking that everybody here, please hit the like and share button. Get these algorithms going. Help to spread this out there. Get this information out there. And let's go through our disclaimers. This video represents the views of the presenters and our guests based off of our own personal research and life experiences. Okay, that's Oh, hang on, Morris. Getting distracted with some of the chat, but we're good. We're gonna get started now, so don't go anywhere. And before we get started, though, I do want to give honors, arise and give the highest praise to the Most High, our Father God Allah. I extend honors to our divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for bringing us our divine creed and nationality. Also extend honors to the forerunner to the prophet, our dear brother Marcus Mosiah Garvey. And I'm just going to say I extend honors to everything Moorish, and also to all the faithful Moorish American Muslims, and all the light bringers, regardless of what your ethnic background is or whatever. To all the light bringers out there watching right now, to everybody hitting that like and share button. So like I said, don't go anywhere, Moors. We're getting started.
It's chapter 7, mind of an Asiatic, homie. Yo. See, any other time, I wouldn't pay you any mind. Put my best foot forward in every verse and every line. I used to dream, I used to pray about the day that I get signed into the truth. About this business just blew my mind. I swear to God, I used to think all I needed was a skill. High verse, catchy hook, dope look, then get a deal. I used to love the rock a sold out show just for the thrill, until the real was revealed to my spirit like Jabril. I'm iconic.
Yeah, they say they want this more science, so I'ma give it to them. Islamism, no illusions when I'm interviewing. Know what I'm doing, no confusion, I ain't into cooning. I'm in the moving units, out here starting revolutions. In love with shooters, making masterminds out the unit. I got a booming out here zooming on the plane of soul. I tell them take me to the grove, they like Islam mode. I'm letting them know this not a show, this all systems go. It's two cells, one man, both high and low. I'm so spiritual, the indigos feel the vibe. I'm so lyrical, a miracle that I survive. Extend my 5 to the 4, I can see him coming. Plus my angel got the angle with the engine running. It's all justice, freedom, peace, truth, and love.
All right, Islam Moors, before we get started, I just want to share something with you. For all the Moors out there, make sure you go to moorishfez.com. Go to moorishfez.com to get your fezzes. This is Moorish American owned and operated company. We have 100% wool fezzes with the leather sweatband on the inside and the tassel and everything that you see on here. These are our actual fezzes. This is what it looks like. You're not getting scammed. We actually send these out. We send these out to Canada, all over the United States, even to other countries as well overseas, right? And so you get exactly what you pay for. No trickery, no anything else, and that top quality. Okay, and it's only $49 plus shipping. And the only thing is you need to make sure you get a tape measure so that you can get your exact head sizes. You don't want to waste money paying for shipping, and now you need to get another size. So make sure you get a tape measure. You can get those from Walmart for like $3 or $4 where they have the fabric. But just go there. You go on here, choose. Well, we have the dark red fezzes, and choose your size. We even have the 8.5 sizes, large size that can fit people with dreadlocks. Nobody else is doing it like that. And like I said, it's more shown. When I joined the temple, they told me, like go here, go there, go to Lauderers. But we have our own. And it's also for wholesale too, for other temples, other Moorish organizations. You can contact us at sales@moorishfez.com. Moors, make sure you go there. Peace and love.
I am not a Negro, black, colored, African American. I'm a Moorish American. Peace.
Yeah. Hey, 5 on the right, 2 on the left, man. You know what time it is. Yo. We just Moors in America, soar through the shores and endure criminal acts of war on our character. 7 years after the 4th score, no reward. Shout out to the most courageous, they was jumping over barriers. Where does that compare to you? We come from a place where you scared to visit our area. We come from a place where it's scary for good Samaritans. Heavy luggage we carrying, babies having babies. It's crazy being American. Praise the one and only Allah, there's no comparison. La ilaha illa Allah, body and buried gin. Laughing at you clowns like ha-ha, dodging the Nephilim. Conquer lower self with the high, follow your regimen. Way before they came we were gods and now we specimen. Tried to take the light from our eyes, thank God for Edison. Then they put the wool on our eyes, it's so embarrassing. Now we travel frequently, we should invest in Sheraton. All of us got gold on our bodies whenever we stepping in. Screaming Ramadan, Mubarak, training the flesh again. Wishing we could move as a unit just like the Mexicans. Dodging all the foods with estrogen, synthetic medicines. All sin isn't devilish. Sometimes the decisions that you make come for a better gift. Sometimes when you sin is to relate to all your brethren. Heavenly gates all in our face, we the champions. We live in the sky, we see the angels on the chariots. Waiting on the $20 bill, face a Harriet. I bet you I'ma carry it. I'm in love with music to the point I wanna marry it. But my love for people is greater, so I write messages. Largest spending power, but we still sit at a deficit. Living amongst prejudice, even at our residence. Moors in America, flourishing, excellent. Let's buy up some neighborhoods and groom our own president. Yeah. And I come to you today with all intentions of spreading love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
Peace. I want to thank everybody that's here, everybody that's showing love in the chat. Peace. Appreciate you. Thank you. If you did comment in the chat, if you haven't done so already, please hit that like and share button. Please hit the like and the share button. YouTube just demonetized us. We're working on it right now, but they do stuff like that all the time. Sometimes they do things so that we don't come up when people are subscribed or when they have the notifications and they don't even see when we're putting up videos or going live. So make sure you hit like and share just to help spread this information. This is going to be a very informative video. Help to get this information out here because like there's crazy things going on behind the scenes that you guys don't see that kind of tries to suppress what we're doing. Okay, but we're not going to stop. We're not going to stop. And today we have a special guest. This is brother Minister Khnum. As I said earlier, I just happened to see some of these brothers' videos, and he was dropping some truth bombs and it's my pleasure to have him on. I'm going to go ahead and bring this brother on the screen right now. Islam, brother, how are you doing?
Islam, brother. All is well in yourself.
All is well, brother. All is well. And as I was saying before, I just happened to see these videos you had entitled "Stirring the Ethers," and it was really, it was very informative. But before we speak on that, could you please inform our audience about yourself? Where you're coming from, where you're located, and anything else that you would like to share about us.
Islam. My name is Minister Khnum, also known as Brother Taylor Hill, from Los Angeles, California, but I represent the state of California. My history, I guess you want to know. I started at Temple 24 with Brother Lane Hill, Brother Maulana Hill, and Satar Hill, and I progressed, went to home office with Braswell Bay, went through the chamber with them, and was appointed to my own temple here, in the state of California, Los Angeles. In that temple, we had Brother Maulana Hill. He came with us, and we built up Los Angeles to a state to where Moors can come from all over the state and the surrounding states as a hub. We use it as a hub and a central location to teach Moors, and we branched out throughout the state. And so for 7 years, I was on 8701. We started the trade post, and we did business. We ran meetings. We worked with the city. We worked with the county, and we just built up Moorish Americans in general. What is a Moorish American to the city of Los Angeles? What is a Moorish American to the state of California? As opposed to a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America, they have their own jurisdiction. But a Moorish American, how do they act? What are they supposed to do? And so that's what we showed the city of Los Angeles and the state of California and the other Moorish groups that were around. We linked all of them up into one group, one state, and we all worked together for 7 years. And that's what we did.
Islam, brother, that's beautiful. That's what, inshallah, that's what we're gonna do here too in Ohio, where we're located. So, gratitude for sharing that. And just to move on, now with the Stirring the Ether video series that you have, what inspired you to create those videos?
Giving honors to Allah, honor to His Prophet. I seen it wasn't done really in the state, and I seen Moorish Americans that I had taught and left in positions to run different positions and departments throughout the state, misusing the power, misusing the authority, misusing the Prophet's name, and misleading the people. So coming back into the state, because I was in North Carolina for the past 5 years, coming back into the state, once I seen how Moors were acting to members, how the leadership was acting towards members, I had to address it because those are my former students. And my students are now in positions of leadership, but they're misleading the people. And I can't support that. So I had to put out the information that I know every temple should be telling their members so that we can move forward, because that's the reason why the nation is stagnant, because the Moorish Americans as a whole don't know how to act, don't know what to do. And they're being lied to by the leaders or the misleaders.
Islam. All right. So I hear where you're coming from. I understand. But just like, so the people that may not have any experience with the temple yet, okay, we'll say yet, can you explain like what that means? Like who's supposed to teach us what it means to be, I guess you could say what it means to be Moorish American? As you said, people aren't teaching, like proper protocol or how we're supposed to act. So could you explain for us?
Okay, so according to Act 1, your Grand Sheik is supposed to be your main teacher. Your Grand Sheik is supposed to have sheiks within their temple that deal with specialties, deal with departments, trustees. Every sheik is supposed to have adepts, who are their assistants, to help teach the members. None of this is going on because none of the people are actually being appointed properly adepts. They're not being trained properly as sheiks. And of course, if they're not trained properly as sheiks, then the Grand Sheiks are going to be off. And so that's the structure. The Grand Sheik declares you a Muslim. He reads your nationality card. And they're supposed to make sure that they're teaching you Islam and your nationality. But you have sheiks and adepts that you interact with yourself personally, most likely the adept. The Grand Sheik may be too busy. But adepts should be assigned to new members to see to it that they come to a certain level of understanding to be able to interact with the rest of the Moorish American community. But as we know, the adepts aren't qualified, and the adept chamber is almost non-existent.
Islam, and you know what? I'm glad you said that. Now that leads into the next question I have. So what would you say is the purpose of adepts and sheiks?
Like I said, the adepts are to teach members what they learn from the sheiks. The sheiks are trustees, period. The sheiks are trustees of the organization. They help the grand sheik. They act as what you would call councilmen or district aldermen, as you would call it. Sheik means elder, correct? Alderman means elder. So the grand sheik should operate like the mayor, and sheik should operate like aldermen. That's how it's supposed to be. Adepts are supposed to assist them. They're assistants.
Islam, gratitude, brother. Okay, yeah. Thanks for clearing that up. So I want to just move on to some more questions that I have for you in general. Would you be open to answering questions from the chat?
I'm open to clearing up the confusion. So whatever needs to be answered, that's what I'm here for.
Islam. So let's go ahead and go through here. So there's definitely a lot that needs to be cleaned up or cleared up.
Yeah, no.
Islam. So first question. All right. Why did the Prophet Noble Drew Ali declare us citizens of the USA? And what does that mean?
He declared us citizens because we've been here for 400 years, did the work, built the government, totally structured the structure, fought in all the wars, all the above. We are citizens if anybody else is. In fact, we're the only people who never rebelled against the United States of America. So we are citizens to the highest degree. And he wanted us to understand that we are citizens and then take part in that citizenship. But that's the basis. We earn our citizenship, just like everybody else. And so he made sure we understood that, especially as Moorish Americans, so that we can go and take that information to the rest of the public.
Islam. So that's a very practical answer, that I think anyone should be able to understand. And I'm sure you've heard, there's so many people, they have so many different, I guess you could say, ideologies. People are coming from so many different directions. Why do you think it is there's so many Moors, even some of these Moors out here that pay lip service to the Prophet, that are claiming that we're not citizens?
Because they have a monetary gain in teaching that. Period. They have corrupted the Prophet's teachings to fit an agenda that they may have originated or may have come into, but they find a way to con artist their way through life, and that's what they're doing. You call them ideologies, I call them straight out lies. They lying on the prophets. Period.
Islam. So can we clear something up right now, just while you're on here? Some people will say that's my nationality card up there. Some people will say that where he put "I am a citizen of the USA." Some people will say that was done after the Prophet made the transition.
Okay, I'm gonna read you something real quick. I'm glad you said that. Where is it at? It's a very controversial letter, but this is from the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. March 11, 1929. Brother Crumley Bey, the governor, and chief head of the temple in Pittsburgh, PA, Brother Charles Bey, governor, and chief head of the temple in Cleveland, Ohio. These two brothers are empowered by the Prophet to investigate business, etc., of the temple number 4 in Detroit, Michigan, because Lomax Bey has violated all divine laws of the Prophet even before the Prophet's face, February 15, 1929. He claims that the Prophet has no more power and the finance from Detroit would be in his charge. He wouldn't send any to the Prophet. He yelled with a loud voice, "Look at me. I will guide you through. This is lawful and living evidence spoken before 1,500 people, and the prophet was also present. I, the prophet, declare his office vacant and the name of grand governor discharged. He can only be a member according to the law because the Moorish Science Temple of America is a divine organization. Each temple is under supreme guidance of the prophet. When man fails after being placed head of the temple by the prophet of obeying our divine laws and constitution, he is a traitor and enemy to the divine creed and unloyal to the national government, USA, to which the movement is to make men and women better citizens, from the prophet Noble Drew Ali. And it has his signature. So when people saying that we're not citizens of the USA, they're not officials. They've never been brought into the Moorish Science Temple of America by an official of the Moorish Science Temple of America, because officials of the Moorish Science Temple of America have documents like this that proves that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali said we citizens of the USA. That's from 1929, March 11th.
Islam. So basically, if they're out here saying that we're not citizens, they're traitors.
That's what he, traitors and enemies.
Islam. There's a lot of those people out here, man, calling themselves Moors, and even some that's connected to the temple, or they pay that lip service to the prophet. They act like they honor him, but they out here, pushing that rhetoric. So right. I just want to repeat that, because for everybody that's listening up, everybody that's gonna hear this later on, it doesn't matter who it is saying this stuff.
No.
If they saying that we're not citizens, they're going against the prophet. They either need to clean their act up and get right, or they are enemies. All right? They're traitors. Doesn't matter who they are. The prophet said that. Now, if you're a real Muslim, the prophet said that. You need to take that as the source. So, just wanted to repeat that. Islam, brother. Islam. And gratitude for reading that measure.
All right.
So, yeah, and if I could just add a little bit to that too, just what you're saying, like there's a lot of people that I think want to cut corners too, as to whatever salvation they're trying to achieve. They want to cut corners. When the Moors in the 1920s maybe understood that they had to build it if they wanted it. They had to build their own houses. They had to build their own businesses. They were ready to get their hands dirty and work. Yes. And a lot of us aren't trying to do that.
No.
Islam. So that's leading into the next question, brother. What would you like if you could explain what the Moorish Science Temple of America is supposed to look like? Like ideally, what it's supposed to look like, and what is its function?
Hold on. Let me make sure I give you the prophet. The Moorish Science Temple of America has a mission statement. Okay. In that mission statement, it explains who we're looking for. Good character, sound judgment, people with skills, professionals. And it explains that the Moorish Science Temple of America, its members are Muslim. So it's a Muslim organization that is gathering all the skilled professionals and people with good character to build a nation. That's what the Moorish Science Temple of America is for. A lot of people want to bring in all their friends and all these other people, and that's cool because it's open to everybody. But we need professionals so that we can set up these departments and operate a nation within a nation. That's what the Moorish Science Temple of America is. It's a school, though. It is not the nation within the nation. A lot of people misunderstand that. It is not. It has the capacity to be, but it is not. It has not worked that structure to the fullest capacity. So it's not a nation within a nation. It's a school that teaches us how to build a nation within a nation, gives us the structure, gives us the economic blueprints and strategies to move around as American citizens in America as well as globally. But that's what the Moorish Science Temple of America is for. If I find a mission statement before we get out of here, I'll read it to you. But there's an official mission statement of the Moorish Science Temple of America.
All right, Islam, and gratitude for reading that, brother. Now, I'm glad this person said this in the chat. It's a real long message, but they're basically going along with the same rhetoric we hear most people saying that we're not citizens of the U.S. They said also there's no true adepts to the Moorish Science Temple. They're all unqualified because they lack true knowledge. They've been taking the science out of the temple. You are not citizen of the United States. You are an American citizen. Everything must be understood through the aspect of law. Law governs all events. So, would you like to say anything to that question? Do you agree with that, or would you like to add
What
anything to that?
what exactly is the statement?
It's saying that we're not citizens of the United States. We're American citizens.
I didn't
There's
say
a difference between that.
I'm gonna clear this up. Don't take out what the prophets say or away from what the prophets say, and don't add to. I did not at any time say we were citizens of the United States. Neither did the prophet. The prophet Noble Drew Ali on the nationality card and in the document I just read said we're citizens of the United States of America, USA. Let's get it straight. Whatever confusion people have, but understand the difference between the USA and the United States, that's on them to go study. But the prophet said USA. If you don't want to be a citizen of the USA, go somewhere else. But that's the political construct of this government. That's the structure in which he incorporated under. That's what gives us our religious protection. All this other stuff is stupidity. It has no place. And that's why we haven't got anything. And the people who writing that stuff are saying this is what we are, don't have nothing. Not as a business, not as an institution, and probably not personally. We're teaching the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. We're not teaching anybody else. And I'm not taking away from anybody else unless they take away from the Prophet. Then I'm taking everything. Because I'm tired of the lies. I have children. And my children have to see that what I'm doing is right, not based on what you type in Moorish American and look online, and these people are crazy saying stupid stuff. So I have to correct it. And no, I get it. No, we're citizens of the USA. If you don't understand that, then prove it wrong. I mean, prove the prophet wrong. And if you're trying to prove the prophet wrong, why are you here? Go build your own organization. Islam, I'll leave it at that.
Islam, brother, I'm with you on that, and I've never really heard anybody that is contending this, explain this in a good way. What the difference is, I mean, even with going off of the different explanations of the United States of America that the government has for it, still, right? It doesn't make any sense.
You got a passport?
It's foolishness.
It's just this simple. You got a passport? Can you leave the country? Are you free to move about the world?
Yes.
Since Moorish, it's the Moorish Holy Temple of Science of the world. Do you have a passport to move freely about the world? No? Then shut up. Like, it's just a bunch of stuff that don't really have any place in the Moorish Science Temple of America or with Moorish Americans. It's a bunch of people wanting to be somebody that they was not outside the organization. This has been since the old days. People come into the religious institution and try to be something that they couldn't be in regular society. I don't need that. I came from corporate America to work in the Moorish Science Temple of America. So I don't have that background. I'm just trying to get this stuff straight. Yeah, you're right. It's a lot of people who, like I said, they prostitute instead of propagate the prophet. And we're going to clear it up. The thing is, like you said, why did I put the information out? It's so that people can have a place to go to find what's the truth. Because there's too many lies, and none of these people are actually qualified. So, as you can see, I don't know if you can see, but I have my charters up there. So, I'm ordained as a minister from the Moorish American government, as well as chartered and made a minister of the Moorish Science Temple of America. I don't know what these people are. I don't know where they come from, because nobody who's went through the adept chamber and been trained by real Moorish officials that the government recognized will say most of the stuff they're saying, because it's treason and sedition, and we don't do that. And I'm gonna call it what it's either treason or sedition.
Gratitude for sharing that, and it is crazy because And I'm not talking about the dude who typed that in the chat, but you never know. Some people that are saying this stuff online, even some that have like tens of thousands of people listening to them, are literally homeless or living in somebody's basement. And it's like, as personally, as a regular U.S. citizen or citizen of the USA, I was able to go overseas to Brazil and take my whole family over there, like my wife and our children, and live over there for 5 years legally with a permanent investor's visa. Start a business, bringing tourists down there, and then come right back over here, no problem. Just rolling right through, no extra special talk or anything. Just show the passport, and we done with it. Keeping it moving, just like everybody else.
Yep.
And everybody can do that. And so, it's time out for all that foolishness with you. So I'm with you on that. And that stuff needs to be put in a proper perspective. Like you said, man, it's people who's not really living, not really moving around and handling business. It's saying this stuff, and it's just leading people astray.
They're con men. Straight out, they're con men. Coming up in Los Angeles, I came across a bunch of them. It's one of them still running the organization here in Northern California in Eureka. Straight con men. Conning all these people, saying he Temple 43 and he not. These are con men. It's what they do. They make up stuff, and because they know other people don't have anybody to check, a real check and balance, then they just do what they want to do and run over people and take their money. They doing it all over the state of California.
Yeah, that's a shame, man. Because one of the first things most people think when you say something about being a Moor, if they see you with your fez on in public, and think, oh yeah, the laws don't apply to me. We could do all of this stuff is straight up, either criminal activity or straight up foolishness. Thinking you could take somebody's house. Somebody that went out of town or something, or you can just come in and change the locks, take the house over. Has nothing to do with being a Moor, being upstanding. So I'm just glad that you're speaking the truth, brother, and that you're putting it in a proper perspective. But for everybody who's tuned in, true Moors are citizens of the USA.
Yes, I have to make a comment. Us in Los Angeles apologize for the confusion that was caused when we started the Moorish American Home Association. We had brothers come back from convention, and there was a brother by the name of Kearney Hill who was a paralegal, and he found a way for the nonprofit to be able to acquire homes. We tried that process, we implemented it, and then some of my students released the information halfway, and for the past 10 years, you have seen people taking homes. That started in Los Angeles. And to give a better understanding, the Moorish Science Temple of America, just like any nonprofit, can acquire homes for cheap. It's not a fantasy or anything like that. But Moors misunderstood what the process was. And again, like you say, they just corrupt everything. And that's why I don't release everything no more, because I see how Moors are. They take and do what they want to do with it. But organizations, you can get a house for $1 if you have the right setup. So that's what we were trying to teach Moors. Moors they don't even want to get $1. They don't want to file a nonprofit organization and be responsible so that they can get the stuff legally. They just want to take people's stuff. They say it's theirs, but they didn't hammer nothing. They didn't buy the wood, the marble tile that come from Italy. They ain't shipping in. Like none of this. They just want to grab these big old homes, and it's just crazy. But yeah, it was started by us, given permission from a home office in Chicago. But we was doing it legitimate and legal. But Moors messed that up. They messed the relationship up with the county. Caused a lot of confusion because they wanted to get these homes and lease them out and do all kind of illegitimate stuff and cause problems. And so they mess up a lot. And it causes a confusion around the country because other Moors see stuff and they're like, oh, we can do it this way. And they try to find ways, but no, it's a legitimate way. You do your nonprofit and then you step to the county and find out what land and homes are available for you for your nonprofit to take over. And that's how you move. All this other stuff, it's not legitimate. I just had to clear that up because, yeah, that was some confusion that we started as well. And then we didn't try to. We were just trying to get ourselves and our family straight. But again, like I said, when you release certain information to Moors, they take it the way they want to. And I mean, they really take it the way they want to and mislead everybody around them.
Wow. Yeah, that's wild. I'm glad you shared that though, man. That's a shame. But that just shows, man, there's still a lot of work to do. And the work is always on self, so we're only going to be as successful as our mindset is. And that's why the prophet, when you look at the Holy Quran, the vast majority of it is on working on ourselves, actually cleaning ourselves up. I did have another question for you, brother. I want to ask this question from the chat. So when the prophet draped the Moorish flag around a little girl and the American flag around a little boy and deemed us a nation, what is that nation? Like what is the name of this nation that he established?
What name do he give you?
So it's Moorish America. Moorish America.
Yeah. It's just that simple. You have Indian America, right? And you have a map of Indian America. It's Indian America, and it's their territories. Moors are supposed to establish territories within these states. That's supposed to be known as Moorish America. You have a book or a catalog or a brochure that would show all of the little territories of what is considered Moorish America. But we barely even own our temples. So how is that possible? That's why we don't see it. That's why we don't see it, because we don't own nothing. But yeah, that's the nation, Moorish America.
Pardon me. So would you say it's just in disarray right now? Like it's still unorganized?
Very much so. It's a dysfunctional family. But the family structure is there. It's just people don't want to follow
it. Islam. All right. So let's move on. Brother Roy Bay from the chat said he would like to speak on the economic and political future of the organization. Like speaking on why we still seem to be stagnated. Do we have a collective blueprint as an agenda to move forward as of yet?
Yes, we've been having a collective blueprint since he gave us the Holy Quran and the Moorish Science Temple of America. But Moors don't use it. For instance, can you hear me? Seem like something went out.
No, we can still hear you.
All right. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, he asked us, do we want our own townships, right? But he also said that we, the officials, are supposed to preach economic security. What temple or what group of Moorish Americans that you know of is preaching economic security? We teach nationality and divine creed, but we preach economic security. I haven't been to a temple in this country that preach economic security. Why is that? That's the reason why our economics is the way it is, because we're not preaching economic security. And then most of the people who say they're officials are not issuing the prophet's documents, which actually teach economic security. The economic security will allow us to use the money that we have to properly lobby and do what needs to be done in the politics. Politics without economics is non-existent. So how are you going to change policy if you don't have one? And we don't even have one. The majority of Moorish American, like I said, the prophet gave it to us, but the leadership is not teaching the strategy, the political agenda, what policies we want to put on the platform and so on and so forth. We're not talking about that. We can, But me personally, I'll talk about it with those who are on track to do something. Just saying it to Moors in random, that's what you get. That's what you get. You get a bunch of confusion. So I'll give out a blueprint, the whole strategy. And then you'll see these dumb Moors trying to manipulate the strategy to make money off of it. So yeah, the blueprint is the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. If Moors would read that and read the Moorish literature and read the oral statements, then we would have a much easier time understanding what Prophet Noble Ali told us to do. But Moors are too busy reading all these other leaders, listen to all these other leaders, don't know what Prophet Noble Ali said about nothing. They're always quoting somebody else in some new book or some old book or some this, that, and the other, but they can't tell you what Prophet Noble Ali said. So they don't know what the Prophet Noble Ali's agenda is because they're not reading his stuff. But it's all there. Read. This is the whole. This is Ramadan. Yeah, we are Muslims. We practice Islam. That means we practice all the 5 pillars of Islam. But yeah, I don't want to, get off the track. But yeah, the political and the economic part, it's all there. But Moore's got to read.
Islam. I'm glad you said that. The brother, the author of this book, is in the chat speaking about the preaching of economic security. We talked about that several times. How a lot of our people, I don't think even understand really what the prophet's saying in there in the Moorish literature. And maybe I shouldn't just say it right out here in the open. That's kind of like a private discussion. But what our religion entails, like you said, the preaching of economic security. It means all of these things that we need to do to ensure the things that the prophet covered, saying that we suffer from, of course, our problems are largely social and economic, but our religion covers the economic portion, the social political portion, and then also the spiritual portion, right? Yeah. So all of this is covered within the religion, and that really opens up the doors for a lot of things that we could do to empower ourselves through our religion. And a lot of people don't really understand what that really means and how we could work that to our advantage. This brother wrote the book, though, The Doctrine of Economic Security. He has several writings in there from the prophet speaking about that topic. Brother, if you want to, please share your website, and I will put that up on the screen and have that in the chat for everybody. But as the brother was saying, man, it's a lot of us aren't working this properly, and then a lot of us don't even know what this really means, what this really entails.
Right.
Islam. Yeah, so just within that right there, we have ways to empower our entire community, the entire Moorish community, if we truly follow the prophet, right? And so this next question, probably going to be a big one, but just in your opinion, what is the current state of the Moorish Science Temple of America, or the Moorish Divine National Movement? And I yield the floor to you, brother.
The movement is moving. It's just straight out. The movement is moving. You see everybody doing their thing. The direction of the movement is the problem, because the prophet is no longer leading this movement. It's a bunch of sporadic, dispersed people leading the movement. But it's moving. Moorish Americans are active. They're not passive. But where they going? Most of them going to jail. So that's where the movement going. You look up Moorish Americans, and they always going to jail. They always in court. Why is there no missionaries sitting with the Pope? Missionaries sitting with the head of Islam? Missionaries sitting with the head of Buddhism? I don't understand. We're supposed to be anointing, important, consecrating missionaries, and we doing what? So that's what we training people to do, to be proper missionaries. So they can do like what you did. Go to other countries, set up businesses for Moorish Americans to then invest in, so that we can have business international and national. That's what we're supposed to be doing. That's what we're doing. I see that's what you're doing. We linking up with those who doing that kind of stuff. The other Moors, they moving where they moving. I hope they move away from me. I hope they keep moving the way they moving, away from the prophet's teaching, so that those who are keeping the Prophet's teaching pure can have an easier job keeping it pure, purifying it, maintaining, and then giving it to the people. Because there are a few of us around the country that have been out the country to go take care of Moorish business. Like I went to Morocco myself to take care of Moorish business. So the movement is there, but the people, the officials, the Supreme Grand, the council of this, none of that stuff is in existence right now. How do you know? Because you can't have 4 Supreme Grand Councils. You can't have 5 Supreme Grand Sheiks. You can't have 6 national conventions. Like, this stuff is stupid. So that stuff, as you see, they're moving away from the Prophet. But those who know the Prophet's teachings is moving on the Prophet's teachings, moving in and out of the country to get things done and change policy as much as possible so that it can affect Moorish Americans' lives. That's what we're doing. That's what we're working with other people to do. That's what we started the adept certification training for, so that we can train adepts and certify them and have them registered with the government so that they can go into these institutions and do what they need to do, what they're assigned to do from the organization. As far as movement, like I said, you got a lot of different Moorish movement organizations doing different things, and it's a plethora of them. So it's moving. The Moorish Science Temple of America, it is where the Prophet left it. It is in its pure, pristine state. And it's not going to change because it's the doctrine of the Prophet. And it's the filings of the paperwork. It's not the so-called officials that claim to be head of the organization. That's not it. So its structure is solid. The movement, those who are moving off that structure are moving in a solid formation. And we together. That's why, you seen the demonstration. You're like, I got to talk to that brother. Real recognize real, truth recognize truth. The fake, we just leave them alone and let them fade out. Because only the fake gonna follow the fake. Corruption follows corruption, period. Can't say, oh, well, I was kind. Yeah, because you was willing to be corrupted or follow some kind of corruption. So we don't follow the corruption. We just go with what the Prophet say, and we move. And we produce the results that's needed for ourselves, our family, and our friends, and our associations. All the rest of that stuff, these other Moors, me personally, like the Prophet said, I ain't come for y'all. Okay, for the young and yet unborn, the ones in your lap. If I gotta convince you, I'm not here for you. My Prophet said, my sheep know the sound of my voice, a stranger will not follow. So as soon as you hear the Prophet's voice, you jump on it. If you're a follower of the Prophet. If you don't, you gotta be convinced, you'll follow something else. I'll leave you there following them until you get ready. But I'm not gonna waste my time because there's no compulsion in Islam. So I have to convince you. So yeah, the movement is moving with those who are moving it. But most of the people who are doing the wrong, to be honest with you, are not even in the movement. You got to be in a part of the Moorish Science Temple of America. He say, join the Moorish Science Temple of America and become a part of the Moorish Divine National Movement. Most of these people have never joined the temple. So they're not even a part of the movement. They just saying they are. So, yeah.
Islam, yeah, I definitely agree with you. Something that was said in the chat, I guess I kind of addressed this, saying, when speaking about how a lot of these people are in prison, they're doing the wrong stuff. The ones that are claiming to be Moors. Somebody said they're going to prison because they have no status and they they don't understand law. I just want to say something to that. You're incorrect on every front. Where in the world do you think you can go and commit crimes and not get it and not have to suffer any consequences for that? Go somewhere with that mess. I don't even know why people like that are even watching these videos. You can go through all the videos on this channel. We don't support that demented way of thinking. You can't go anywhere and commit crimes and claim to be, just because you claim to be a stateless Moor, think that you're going to get away with it. Right?
No, don't commit crimes. It's just that simple. Nobles don't commit crimes.
Islam. If you're a Muslim, yeah, what you're not gonna be committing. You're not even gonna be drinking or smoking, let alone selling drugs or committing anything. Any unspeakable acts. you're just not going to be partaking in that type of behavior, period. So like you said, these people, you're on the outside. You're on the outside. You know, you might think you're on the true road, but you're on the outside following your lower self. And at the end of the day, that's why you see the prophet lifting unconscious humanity out the cares of the world onto that solid rock of salvation. You save yourself by cleaning yourself up. Yep. People don't want this. They don't want that, you know. But for those that do, you know, we do have some more questions. Just what you just said about the temple, you know, we witnessed this for us, and this is leading into my next question. We witnessed this for years, going to conventions and realizing that it was a waste of time. On one hand, like you said, you've got several different conventions. On another hand, there's no business taking place. And outside of fellowshipping with other Moors is a waste of time. No business is taking place. Nothing's being taught. If you're like me, you're going with your wife and children. You're the only person there with the wife and children. Even the Supreme Grand, people with all these titles. And it's not even always a comfortable situation because of the mindset of where, you know, a lot of these people are at. So I'm going to ask you this. Is there even a point right here in this day and time, just being real, of trying to have a convention? We have all of these different bodies. You have all of these bodies and nobody's doing what these councils are supposed to be doing, which is managing properties and businesses, overseeing the businesses as the prophet established. This is what he said that the councils are for.
Right.
I can be wrong, but is there any point even of having convention?
Yeah, having a convention, not having a family reunion.
Yeah, because that's all we saw. You know, it was cool to fellowship, but you know, other than that, nothing really was taking place.
What they throw is a family reunion. They call it convention, but it's really just family reunions, and they don't even be bringing their families, like you're saying. Do we need them? Yes. To do what? To officiate the governmental structure that need to be put in place. How to do it? Me and you would talk. If the rest of these Moors are willing to do right, then we'll, you know, divulge the information later. But right now, yeah, conventions are needed. But if you're gonna have 6 of them, all of them are null and void. We need one national convention. And if we're not gonna have that, for instance, you got Ra'il, Braswell Bay, Bailey Ill, Prather Ill, Jones Ill. You got all these people, right? Why they can't make a Supreme Grand Council? Just think about that. Why all them old Moors can't sit down and say, well, you're going to be the historian, you're going to be the treasurer, you're going to be the business manager, you're going to be the security, and form a council? It's not that difficult. The reason is because these old Moors got old beefs, and they bring the young people into their old beefs. Like, to me, there's nobody that's more qualified to be like a historian than Ra'il. But you see the situation. You have these Moors who won't, oh, I can't sit down with him. And if you can't sit down with him, then the officials of the government that we're trying to work with can't sit down with us. I don't want to be the Supreme Grand Sheik. I don't want to sit on Supreme Grand Council. I don't like them old Moors. But I think them old Moors should be able to sit down with each other and solve their problem so that we can look at them as elders and go to them for advice. But they don't want to do that. They want to argue. Oh, that Mo did this. All y'all did some stuff. And I didn't. Came through Brownsville Bay, came through Bailey Hill, went to the University of the Moorish Science Temple of America before it was the Moorish Islamic Institute. Went through the Moorish American National Government with the chairman, P.D. Pleasant Bay, got my minister's paper. So I done been through all of them. And I can call them out for what they do. And so they can all come together, but they don't want to. They just don't want to. And so because of that, we don't need to have a convention because all of them going to have their own conventions. But when we can come and sit down together, yeah, we should have a convention. And then there's some other stuff that can be done, and we'll talk about that later, to make sure even if they're not doing what they're doing, what they need to do on a national level, we can fix what we need to fix in our own cities. And that's what I want to show people how to do, how to be Moorish Americans without the corruption of what has happened to the leadership of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Not the temple, like the prophet said. The prophet is right, the temple is right. But the administrations inside of the temples are corrupt. And we want to make sure Moorish Americans can be Moorish Americans without being corrupted by the leadership of the Moorish Science Temple of America.
Islam, brother. Gratitude. There's another question from the chat. This person asked, what is a divine right? Before you answer that, just in case anybody doesn't know, maybe why this person asked that, go and read the divine warning by the prophet for the nations. Y'all gonna have to do some reading.
Oh, yeah.
I yield the floor.
Well, what was the question, though?
Oh, the question was just, what is a divine right?
A right that proceeds from the Creator to creation, and we are a part of the creation. So the Creator gives every part of creation certain rights over creation or within creation. That's your divine right. Humans have certain divine rights, and so do dogs, cats, birds, and everything else, right? So everything has divine rights because it comes from the divine. Divine means the Creator. So that's your right. That which is given to you by the Creator. That's your divine right.
Islam. And one thing, if I could add to that, would be we receive our divine rights through our Creator, Allah.
Correct.
Everybody's supposed to be guaranteed their rights, their unalienable rights through their Creator. Isn't
Correct.
that in the Constitution?
Correct.
And so, as Moorish Americans, we have our Creator, Allah. We're returning to our vine and fig tree, and now we can receive our divine rights as citizens. That's what the prophet's speaking about in the divine warning. So, just to add to that question, so as the brother said, now we come in to receive our divine rights.
Correct.
We self-define, or define who we actually are, and now we can receive our rights just like everybody else, like he said. Islam. So moving on to the next question. All right. Are Moorish Americans supposed to adhere to the Quran of Mecca, revealed to the Prophet Muhammad?
Do you have a question there?
Islam, yes.
Okay. Do you have a question there? Now, I know you do, but I hope the person who asked the question have one. And if they do, they need to read it. The Moorish Science Temple of America derives its power and authority from the great Quran of Muhammad to propagate the faith and extend the learning and truth of the great prophet of Ali in America. How you going to propagate the faith if you don't have a Quran of Muhammad? The Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America is what the global Islamic community would consider as hadith. It's traditions. It's tradition of Moorish Americans. And it's for Moorish Americans. That's why it says for the teaching and instruction of Moorish Americans. But Muslim is just the French English version of Muslim. Arabic don't have an ORU in it. So we Muslims, period. We practice Islam, period. There's no, we don't practice. He says Islam. You raise your hand and say Islam. Why would you say that if you don't practice Islam? Why would he give you Allah? He could have gave you all kind of African gods, but he gave you Allah. So, and then he put on your nationality card that the leader who you're proclaiming your nationality with is ordered to teach you and declare that you are a Muslim under the divine laws of the Holy Quran of Mecca, not under the divine laws of the divine constitution and bylaws, not under the divine laws of the Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, under the divine laws of the Holy Quran of Mecca. So you Muslim. Moors want to, Muslim and Muslim is different. Yeah, if you're dealing with transliteration, but if you're talking about the word, no, it's the same. There's no difference. Now, do we practice like Arabs? No. We practice like the Quran teaches. The Arabs practice their own tradition. that's outside of the Quran. We have our book that's outside of the Quran, the Holy Quran, the Moorish American of America. That's our tradition. So we have our own. But do we all practice the same Islam? Yep. If you read the oral statements, you hear the Prophet was around these ones. When he was in town, they came in to hear him speak. One of my students right now, she's just her first Ramadan. She went to the masjid and told the sister that she was learning from that she was a Moorish American. Sister said, "Oh yeah, y'all the law Muslims. See, they accept us. We want to argue with them. Oh, we don't do that. Y'all, we don't. That's hocus pocus." And they don't even understand what the Prophet was talking about when he said that. And so we follow the Holy Quran. We Muslims. You want to say Muslim, fine. You want to be stuck in the 1929 vernacular? So be it. It's 2023. Proper terminology is Muslim. And that's what we are. And we follow the Holy Quran and Mecca. We are under those divine laws. You cannot be a Moorish American and not be under the divine laws of Mecca. It's just not possible. So, I know that may offend a lot because they don't want to follow no rules and do what's right. But no, we Muslims.
Islam. I'm with you on that, but I do have one question about the Quran now. Is speaking about the great Quran of Muhammad. Mm-hmm. What do you say about, like, what do you think just personally about surahs like such as Surah 9, verse 97, which is specifically, it appears to specifically be speaking about Arabs. For example,
the Arab is understanding the Quran. It says it. The Arab is the least to understand the Quran, but then he said right behind it is another group of Arabs that do understand the Quran. So, yeah, we roll with the ones that do, not the ones that don't. And it's really just that simple. We follow the Quran. We don't follow somebody else's translation of the Quran or what their cultural experience is of the Quran. We don't follow the Pakistanis. We don't follow the Afghans. We don't follow the people from Southeast Asia. We don't even follow the Arabians. We just don't, because we know that we are the founders of the holy city of Mecca. So we follow us. But we still follow the Holy Quran of Mecca because the Holy Quran of Mecca is codified Moorish law.
Islam. All right, gratitude for clarifying that for us, and that should make sense to all of us. By following these laws, it keeps us in accordance with Allah, and as the brother said, it's codified. It's understood across the board by over 1 billion people in the world. So that would be kind of crazy, for us to try to be out here on the outside, as some people are trying to do. But as you said, I agree with you again too. I think that's just people just not wanting to abide by any type of law or structure at all.
That's what it is. So if you go back to 1929, before the Prophet made it his religious organization and put Islam on it, it wasn't, right? And so they was pimping, prostituting, running liquor, running numbers, right? But then when he put Islam on it, they set up to kill him, get rid of him, take over his organization. Why? Because they didn't want to follow no rules. So that's why Brother Ford Hill and Pool Bay, when they went, they said, no, we just going to do the Temple of Islam, because they seen what the problem was. People didn't want to follow no rules and no structure. So we just going to leave all that national. This is why Nation Islam run the way they run it. We going to leave all of that political Islam or political nationality alone. Because, we got that. We understand that, but we corrupt with it. We just need Islam right now so that we can get a better understanding on how we're supposed to act as people, how we're supposed to conduct ourselves in society before we try to say we nobles and we need to control the politics and policies. Nah, you need to get Islam. And that's what we haven't gotten. The Moorish Americans are the laughing stock of Islam around the world, even less than the Nation of Islam. And we don't even create another Jesus figure. But the way we carry out our Islam is so makeshift. Half of them Masons, half of them New Age, half of them halfway astrologers. They just mix everything up and say, yeah, this is Moorish science. That's not what Moorish science is. Moorish science is Islam. And you look up the scientific improvements of Moors while we were under Islam, then you understand why he say Moorish science. It's called Islamic sciences. It's a real thing.
Nice, gratitude for that breakdown, brother. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And then especially what you said about the Nation of Islam. And that's I'm glad you said that, because that should make sense to everyone. In general, everybody knows they're disciplined. They're far more disciplined than Moorish Americans are in general, man. You know, it's a mess. And let's go ahead and stay in that line of questioning. And since you brought that up, just speaking about Moors, the Moorish Science Temple of America, are homosexuals allowed to serve positions of leadership in the Moorish Science Temple of America?
No.
All right. Are homosexuals allowed to join the Moorish Science Temple of America?
Yes.
All right. Can the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, are they allowed to be married to members that are married to pale-skinned Europeans?
If they were married before they came in. And like the homosexual. The homosexual was the only person the prophet ever kicked out the temple. But it was only after he introduced that man to many women. And he didn't want the women. He kept going after the men.
Wow.
The prophet said, you got to get out of here.
You're talking about Prophet Jones, right? In Detroit, the guy that called himself Prophet Jones.
Hey, you might know the name. Hey, if you know the story, then tell it. But
yeah. So that was one of the flamboyant brothers who wound up doing the Christian thing and making a lot of money, I think. So, all right. So they're allowed to join, but not serving positions of leadership. Members can join if they're already married to pale-skinned Europeans, but they can't come in and still continue that activity. Like they're not, like because there's some Moors, that's all they want.
I'm gonna say this:
they don't want their own people.
Islam, we're not like the Christians. When the Christians came into Africa, they broke up families because they said we against polygamy, and so they just broke up families. They, pick a wife, and the rest of them we gonna give it to our officers and stuff like that, just like they did in China with the Uyghurs. Okay, we don't do that. If you was married to that woman and you got children, or if you don't have children, you was married to that woman before you came in, we have to honor that. Now, if you in the temple and you want to bring a European to us and say, can we perform the ceremony? No. No,
that makes sense.
Not. But do I have to honor your marriage that you came in with? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
That would be disrespectful and dishonorable to not. Europeans can come in the temple. They can. They cannot be officials of the temple. Only Moorish Americans can. Arab can't be an official. An Italian can't be an official. Nigerian couldn't be an official. One from Ghana couldn't be an official. And let me be more frank. A Moroccan from Morocco could not be an official of the Moorish Science Temple of America.
What about a Jamaican?
No.
His puppy was Jamaican.
In Jamaica?
Yeah.
In Jamaica?
He could open a temple in Jamaica and be an official of that temple, but not
Most
the Moorish Science Temple of America.
That's why Garvey couldn't run here. He couldn't get his thing off the ground because Jamaica has a different political policy and structure, economics, and so on and so forth than the United States do. So, what's his name? The sleeping car porter who supported Marcus Garvey and the boys, they went against him because they had a different setup here that Garvey didn't really understand. Garvey couldn't stand Chicago. He didn't never go back. But the prophet set up his organization in Chicago. Why is that? So Yeah, I mean, these people from these different Caribbean islands, Central and South America, yeah, they can open up temples in their region, but in North America, it's for North Americans. And that's us.
Islam.
That's the Moorish Divine National Movement of North America. He could have said all the Americas, but he didn't.
Islam. All right, so can leaders of the Moorish Science Temple of America be married to pale-skinned Europeans?
No. No. You can be a good member all your life, but you can't lead nobody, because where you gonna lead them? To amalgamation?
Yeah, it's crazy.
So no,
we witnessed that. We witnessed that firsthand, man. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's false. It's fraudulent. They don't really hold the position they say they're in. They just tricking people who don't know no better. Because negligence of duty is abandonment of station. Period. And so you neglecting Act 7.
And that's crazy. I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's crazy, because even people who are in leadership, who've been in the movement for decades, they co-signed on that mess.
Why?
Like they went along with it.
Corruption, that's what I mean. Because they want to do something corrupted, they will allow something corrupt, so that the people who they allow do it say, okay, well, you gave me a pass, I give you a pass. I don't need no passes. I'm going to do it because it's right. I don't need nobody to give me a pass. But that's what they're doing. It's corruption.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's wild. More, nobody's gonna change things if we don't, though. If we don't stand up, you can't just go along to get along.
No,
you can't.
And you gotta
take advantage of that.
You gotta stop financing the corruption. Like, it just don't make no sense. We say, well, the temple's all right, but you're still giving these fools your money. You the fool.
Islam.
And that's really the case. Like you say, running to convention, spending $1,500 and up to get to convention. To do what? So, I mean, it's the members who are not studying, who are letting the leadership get over on them because they're not studying and bringing up what the prophet said. But then they want to complain to those like myself and say, well, this person ain't doing it right. Then I say, well, did you read the laws and bring it to your leadership? Oh, well, I didn't know that. Well, that's your problem. You don't want to read nothing. You just want to listen to somebody. Then that's your leader, that's your advisor, that's your daddy, whatever the case may be. Then do what they tell you. But if the prophet is you here for, or should I say more so for yourself, and that's here to learn from, then you need to be reading what the prophet knows what you at least set up for this organization. Otherwise, stop complaining and just follow your leadership.
Yeah, and some people are there because they're trying to get charters so they can go off and do their thing. And it's like, look, if these charters that you got are from people who are corrupt, who don't follow the prophet, what makes you think it does anything for you at all?
It doesn't. They're not registered. They're not filed. They're not the right charters. And like you said, they just giving them away because you paid $300. You don't know what to do with it, where to take it, how to care for it. No, any of that. Any of that. How to rep, not any of that. They don't know how to do nothing. And so the only charters that's actually valid are the ones that Prophet Noble Jew Ali left, and a few that was able to be filed properly since then. But it's very few. The Moors don't know how to file charters properly. And I got, like you said, they just making them anyway. And then when you file it, what does it give you the authority to do? It gives you the authority to teach the teachings of Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius. It don't say nothing about no land. It don't say nothing about no money. It don't say nothing about none of the stuff Moore's talking about. All it talks about is you having the authority to teach the secret teachings of Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius. That's what a charter authorizes you to do. to open up a teaching institution.
Yeah.
That's it. Now, what does a teaching institution teach? It can teach you how to get a house. It can teach you how to get a car. It can teach you how to do all kinds of stuff. But the key is it's a teaching institution. The reason why they're not setting up the proper teaching institution, because they're not teachers and they wasn't taught. Period. The teacher must conform himself to the questionnaire. That means you need to question yourself before you want to question other people. Question your own character, your own intentions. So, yeah, it's the structure is there. The prophet is right. The temple is right. These Moors are off. And we here to set it straight so that you can have an example of where it's supposed to go. But the charters, they're real. You can't get charters issued still today. Braswell Bay them ain't doing it. I don't think YL them is doing too much of it no more. And Bailey Hill gone. Kanoon Bay doing it, but he janky. He stole his charters from Bailey Hill. Stole it. Y'all know the story. If you don't, you'll find it out. You know, I got mine from Bailey Hill. He gave it to me. He told me to do something, upgrade some stuff. He gave me 3 boxes of information and said, take it and go copy it. I spent a whole week at his house going back and forth to the copy place, copying everything that I could. And that's what I did. I did exactly what Rael did when he was letting the hot box. Take pictures and make copies of everything and then set up the institution. Because that's what he was asking to do. Set up the institution, write the proper books that need to be written so Moors can have a curriculum. But, you know, people misuse the elder and now he gone, you know. And so my assignment still stands. I still have every document the prophet issued. And I have the authority to issue them. The Caribbean Bay body can't say nothing. The Braswell Bay body can't say nothing. The Leo body said something. They said, go do it. And the rest of them don't have no authority to say nothing because they got the information from him. And so, like I said in the videos, they wanted to keep me secret. And I wanted to stay secret until I came back home to California and seeing the detriment of me being behind the scenes. So that's why I had to come in the front and explain certain things, and then I'll disappear again because I just need to clear stuff up. I like to travel and actually do the work. I don't need to be seen. But I have to make sure that this information is correct because, like I say, people don't have, the first thing is a calling card. The last thing is a charter. There are so many things in between those, but people don't have them. They don't have none of the documents. And they don't know how to use none of it. That's what we're here to teach to people. If they're willing to learn. If they're not willing to learn and go through school like they're supposed to and earn it, then I can't give it to them. This is not like I said, it's not a social organization. It's a divine and national movement. So you're not going to get this just by being social. You're either going to fall in line with the order or you're going to fall off. And most people didn't fell off. They back in the water. They back in the cares of the world.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. And that's right in alignment with the next question. One of the sisters in the chat said, should the leadership be married?
Yes.
Should their families also, be active, like in the movement, like, Muslims, Moorish Americans?
There's no compulsion in Islam. Should they? But you can't force nobody to do anything. Should they teach their children? Yes. Are you going to force your children to interact, especially after a certain age? No.
Islam. And that's something we witnessed. That's a well, it just goes back to what you were saying earlier about taking the teachings and like holding ourselves accountable. Especially with the leadership. How are we going to build a nation, and you want to have these titles, these different titles, and you're not even doing what the prophet commanded us all to do.
Right.
You know, it's supposed to be a husband and wife.
So you don't have to
the household in order.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, Islam. Oh, so going back in here, there's some more questions. Well, before we go to the chat, I just want to ask a few more things.
Please do.
Yeah.
Clear up.
In one of the older videos that you had online, you said that the Moorish Science Temple of America is demolished. You said enter at your own risk.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that sentiment. You know, and unfortunately, probably a lot of Moors that have actually joined the temple understand as well. But would you please embellish on this so that people, because most of the people that's going to watch this video haven't joined the temple, can you please give an understanding of why you would make a statement like that?
Because the administrations of every temple that I've been in, and I've been in most of them across this country, from Jersey to California, Georgia, I've been to them. They're detriment to the movement. You go in and you get taken for your money. You might get taken for your wife or your husband. You got ones preying on your children. You got people trying to take your business, mess up your estate, because they criminals. They jailhouse Moors. And they just want to get something and try to look like they're doing something so they can show off to other people who doing less than them. And that's what you see in every temple across the country. All of them. So you can get your nationality card, get your constitution, get your questionnaire, get your Quran, and read it. I don't care which one of these crooked Moors you get that from. That's the temple. But if you're going to go and associate with these people, most likely they're going to have you drinking, smoking, womanizing. The sisters don't be too off like that. But men, they be all off. And so, yeah, you don't need to be around them. Just go get your stuff. And nowadays, you can get a Quran, Constitution, and questionnaire offline. May not be sealed, may not be, but at least you can get the understanding of it without getting corrupted by these people and misled, because they know you're not going to read what they give you. So they're just going to tell you all the stupid stuff. And that's what they're doing. I run into Moors all the time. They say this leader did that, this leader did that. I said, well, did you read this act? Did you read this act? Did you read this law? Oh, nope, I don't know it. Then that's your problem. And in fact, that's what you get, because you didn't take it serious. And so, yeah, it's a danger entering into these temples. So just get your nationality. You know, I know you're supposed to stand up before the Moorish official, but half of these people aren't Moorish officials. So again, what we started the ADEPT certification training for, so that we can actually put proper officials around the country so that they can properly nationalize people and build Moorish communities and know what to do step by step. But they will be under a confidentiality agreement, and they will be held accountable by them alphabet boys, because we can't risk no more of the stupid stuff. I will turn you in with no problem, because you don't want to follow the rules. You want to do what you want to do. I'm grown. I self-law and master. Islam means Islam. It means submission. It don't mean I self-law and master. So you're not going to follow Islam and follow the rules and regulations. We will put you away. Prophet set aside temples, put away people. And that's what's going to happen. So, yeah, that's the option that we offer. Because, yeah, it's just too much confusion with the administrations. We have to retrain the administrations and get the corrupt ones out, because they're horrible. Yeah, I definitely agree. Witnessed that firsthand, seeing, pardon the dogs, but seeing people in the chat saying the same thing. All right, here we go. So, seeing it firsthand, seeing what people in the chat are saying, they're experiencing the same thing. Leadership being so corrupt, allowing so much corruption to go on, it just turns people away. It makes decent people leave the temple, want to get out. And
It's sad. And so I was going to ask you, I think you already answered this, but I was going to ask you, where should Moors go, as far as Moors that want to proclaim their nationality? What should they do?
Um,
Go ahead, brother.
If they want to proclaim their nationality, you have many temples around the country. As corrupt as they are, I don't know if they're registered properly, so on and so forth. There's a way for you, as a Moorish American, to proclaim your nationality. I'm not talking about the Taj, Tariq Bey, RV Bey publications way. I'm not dissing. I'm just saying not that way. It may be something similar, but it's not that way. And we teach it. We teach Moorish Americans how to be Moorish Americans without the corruption of the administrations. We issue nationality cards. That's valid. It's open to everybody. But me personally, I don't want to deal with everybody. So that's why we're trying to set up what we setting up so that we can have people in their regions that can help them out. They want to enroll in the adept certification training, no problem. But know that you will be tested and you will be reviewed, investigated, so on and so forth. Because right now we're not looking for members, we're looking for leaders. Of course, you're gonna come in as a member. We're training you to be a leader. If you're not willing to be accountable as a leader, we don't need you right now. You can go into any one of these groups, get your nationality card, constitution. You can probably even go on RV Bay Publications and get something to identify you. But what we're issuing and what we're doing is from the temple, is from the prophet, is from the USA, and we're not compromising that. We have to do it right. Like he said, he signed up to go a certain way to make sure that everything is right. We did the same thing. We're doing the same thing. We follow that blueprint. So we can help you get your nationality straight, get your status corrected, so on and so forth, and whatever you're looking for. But just know it may not be what you think. And a lot of, as you hear from this presentation, it's not what a lot of people think the Moorish Simple America is. So you might get your feelings hurt because you may say some stuff that's just not the temple. And I'm not going to compromise it or tolerate it so that you can feel comfortable in whatever you're trying to do. But the temple is here. I'm an official of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And I can assist people all over the country as a minister. As a minister, I can assist people all over the country. But I'm only assisting people who really need assistance. These Moors who just want to send paperwork here and there and all the other, I'm not doing that. You're not gonna have my name and the proper seals put on stuff and you just doing stupid stuff and your actions are stupid. You want to run around here arguing with police at traffic stop. We're not doing none of that. We're not doing none of that. I will turn you into the police. I will tell them, thank you. Yeah. If you get to arguing and doing stupid stuff because you feel you have some kind of right. I'm not backing that. So when they call us and reach our secretaries, you may be on the books, but we may tell them to hold you until we send a letter in to get you out. Because you're not following our rules, and because you're not following our rules, they can arrest you. You can't not follow our rules and not follow theirs. You got to follow one, and one should actually follow the suit of the other. So, yeah, we can help, but Moors better be ready to do right because you will get your feelings hurt.
I hear you on that. Just to speak to the people, for those who would, coming in thinking you're going to get some paperwork that's going to magically, make things better for you or, put you in some higher standing. That's not how it works. You have to work on yourself to actually be a Muslim, actually be a better person, actually doing that work on subduing your lower self. And if you're not doing that work, there is nothing anyone can do for you. And you need to go ahead and keep messing with those people who's selling you these packages, who's going to take your money. And when it goes sideways for you, they ain't going to be nowhere to be found. You need to keep dealing with them. because that's what y'all want. People that's gonna sell you fantasies that aren't working for anyone. There's no successful examples of these people that's pushing that stuff, you know. And then nobody's trying to hear the work that we gotta, we have to practice group economics. We need to, be better people. We need to be more trustworthy. We need to now start working on, building up an economic system. Nobody wants to do that, right? Because that takes real work. People think that they could just magically just file some paperwork or something and make everything go away. That's not how it works. But there was a question in the chat. Brother said, "What do you think about the 1786 Treaty of Peace and Friendship in connection to Moorish Americans? Or is it even really connected?" Was that talking about them over there?
Okay, so in 2014, the Tea Party paid for 3 Moorish Americans to go to Washington, D.C. Did y'all catch what I just said? The Tea Party paid for 3 Moorish Americans to go to Washington, D.C. While in D.C., those Moorish Americans went to the Moroccan embassy. We were the first Moorish Americans to ever be let in the Moroccan embassy. That eventually was the reason that I had to go over to Morocco, because I was invited. We are 10 generations removed from the Peace and Friendship Treaty. So says Morocco. And because we are citizens of the United States of America, the Moroccan government says we have a better chance at changing foreign policy as American citizens than being Moroccan subjects. So why would we give up our citizenship in the United States of America, which they're trying to get, to be subjects, which you can be a religious subject just by proclaiming your religion as a Muslim or Muslim? Why? Because Morocco is an Islamic government. If you're a Muslim under the Moroccan government, then you're a subject. So you don't have no rights to the Peace and Friendship Treaty if you're not Muslim. None. And then if you are Muslim, what connection do you have to Morocco? The Moorish Americans have to reestablish that relationship. The last time we had that established relationship was right before they got their independence and right after, but then we lost it. And so to try to invoke it will be impersonating an officer that most Moorish Americans are not. So you can't use it. That's why it hasn't been useful for the people who try to use it. There have been some people who used it and it was useful for them because they had a connection with Morocco. And first off, they was Muslims, because Morocco is not going to bother with you if you're not Muslim. So Christians can't benefit from the Moroccan Peace and Friendship Treaty. Sorry, not sorry. Islam?
Oh, sorry. I thought you could hear me. Now, gratitude for sharing that. I just shared in the chat too. The King of Morocco is he has the title of the Commander of the Faithful.
Yep.
For all Muslims in the world, right? So it's more of an honorary title, but still, as the brother said, that's the only way you would even really be connected. As far as being a Muslim, right?
Yeah, I mean, I got into the palace because I was Muslim. I prayed with them. I mean, I know the greetings, I know the customs. I'm a Moorish American. I'm not just saying that because I have a fez on. I know the Moorish customs. I know what Moors are supposed to act like, how they're supposed to interact with other Moors or Moroccans or Algerians, because they do act a little bit different. Or the Tuareg, called the Berber. They act a little bit different. Moors need to know they different family lines. Moors don't know that. And so we say Peace and Friendship Treaty, but how does that apply to you? And the United States know to respond to you. So while at the embassy, I asked them, what is their take on all of the Moorish paperwork? They say it's funny. They throw it away. They used to receive it from the U.S. The U.S. used to send it to them, but they just started telling the United States to throw it away when they get it. Most of it was coming from Ivy Bay publications. It's null and void. It has no validity to it as far as Morocco is concerned. None.
Wow. And I bet I mean it. I mean those, especially the ones from RV Bay. I mean it's got so much information on there talking about like ancient Lemuria and all this stuff. Yeah, I can imagine. Like that stuff, it's gonna look wild. It's gonna look real, it's gonna be far out there. So
let me show you how weird it was. They did know of Moorish Americans. Okay? The ones at the embassy, not the ones in Morocco. They knew of Moorish Americans in Morocco, but I'm talking about the embassy. At the embassy, they knew of Moorish Americans. At the consulate, the counselor knew of a Moorish American. Guess how he knew him? He was a part of the Kirkman Bay body, and that was his drinking buddy.
Wow.
That's all they do is go drink and party and chase women. That's what he know of Moorish Americans in D.C. Because remember, the Kirkman Bay body moved their headquarters to D.C. So you would think they would be doing something. They ain't connected to the consulate. They ain't connected to them. They have no relationship besides a drinking buddy. That's what I mean. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It just off of what you say right there, that means he wasn't a real Moor.
Of course not.
You disqualified. you failed the test.
But he think because the Moroccans doing it, that's what he do. We do what they do. No, just like most Americans, they say, "Oh, we Moorish American." Are we to act like the Native American? Are we supposed to act like the colonizing American? Which one are we supposed to be like? People ain't really thought about that because most people want to act like the colonizer, but even the Amish don't want to be English. So why do we want to be English? Why do we want to act like these Europeans instead of acting like the natives? That's the American we supposed to be building up. We're supposed to be building a relationship with the natives. Instead, we want to build a relationship with these Europeans, but the prophet said the Europeans helping us. The relationship with them has already been established. If we know how to keep it up, we need to build a relationship with the other Native Americans and other foreign nations that's here. But we argue in old treaties instead of trying to make new ones. But you can't make a new one because you're not an official.
And another thing to add to that too, there's no real incentive for many other groups, other nations, as you said, to even want to work with us if we're not participating in commerce and trade.
Right.
Like we have to bring something to the table, just like they need to, so that it can be an equal transfer.
Yes.
It needs to at least be close to equal. You got to bring something to the table, not just a bunch of words and rhetoric, like from the internet. You got to have some. Well, we do these. We have these farms. We have a bunch of eco farms or community gardens, and we all grow sweet potatoes and bring something. You bring something to the table. So we have these organic produce we can sell to y'all or trade with y'all. You trade with this. We got to bring something to the table so that we can form these bonds and begin to blossom into something else, so that we can build these bonds with other groups as well. And that's really what we need to work on, internally. And I think that's more important, than a lot of the stuff that people's talking about. That goes into that the preaching, of economic security, right? Being self-sustainable.
I agree. What you're talking about is commodities, but commodities can't trade commodities. And right now, average African American posing to be a Moorish American is a commodity, and commodities are not taught how to trade commodities. So, for instance, I went to school for urban farming. I went to go get my certificate as an urban farmer to do exactly what you said. Because when I went to Morocco, they said we need to do certain things. They gave me a whole blueprint, a script on what Moorish Americans need to do to be recognized by the government in which we live and the nations of the earth. Do you know most of the Moorish Americans I came back and brought the information to didn't want it, didn't believe it was real, or didn't want it?
Wow.
Because they don't want to do nothing.
Yeah. You know, just to add to that, that's something that I've witnessed just from living overseas. That like we have it really good here. Even though we're at the bottom of the totem pole, we get walked on and don't have rights. We got it good. Because like where I lived at in South America, they didn't build projects for the people. You know, the people had to build their own houses. You know, they had to put their own plumbing in, all of that. So, you know, they didn't have welfare and food stamps and stuff like that either. So, you know, I agree. You know, a lot of us don't want to do anything.
And that's the problem. That's why the rest of the world, when they come here, they look at us like niggas. Straight out. Y'all niggas. Because we dark like you. We have been oppressed like you. But we don't act like y'all. We know how to get up and do something. We'll sell oranges until we can sell apples, until we can have a fruit stand, until we can have a grocery store. But us, I'm not selling no apples. I ain't selling no oranges. I ain't selling no roses. I ain't selling nothing but crack, weed, and other stuff that's going to detriment to the community. But something that's going to nourish and bring brightness and some joy and love to we not selling that. And so that's a problem for me. Because this is my people and they want me to sympathize, but I'm inside and I see what we do with our money. I see what we do with our time, and I don't have no sympathy for that. It's us. We want to buy the Nikes, the Jordans. We want to dress like these people. We want to go to their restaurant. We thought that because integration happened, that we supposed to give them all our money. No, we supposed to integrate the money and be able to have access to their funds. But all they did was just take ours and close up half of our businesses because we don't understand economics. We just want to be around them. That's why you got the issue with some of us marrying them and thinking that they can be officials of the temple. Because that's the mindset. We just want we think that their lifestyle is the standard, but it's not.
Yeah, and what you said, that's what the prophet said right there in the divine warning, right? He traveled in the South, right? The prophet was born in the South, Jim Crow era. Examined the conditions there, and what's the reason why we suffer? It is the works of my own people. My people continuously practicing the things which bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation that lives a life. No one can live the way that we do. It's unsustainable. It only leads to death and destruction. So you know, we can't leave that whole prophet part out. That seems like a lot of people want to leave out. And I'm sure anyone else who's trying to do the good work, right? Maybe you have a temple or a study group or whatever. You see, there's people that come thinking they can get that easy route and leave out the work on self and everything. And once they find out what it's really about, they're gone. You never hear from them again.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where we're still at. And so you know, we want to focus on solutions. I do want to get to this question in the chat. Brother asked, what do you say to the Moors that say that this land, America, is or was Morocco or Al Morocco? You know, Mexican, whatever people saying. What do you say to that?
Okay, so it's conquered. If you don't have the military to retake it, so what?
Yep. Stop crying. Get over it. Do something about it.
Yeah, what's your point? Like, all right, I'm in California. Mexicans always talking about California used to be ours. It's not now. It belongs to the United States of America. If Mexico will declare war and take it back, shut up. I mean, what are we talking about? We're people who don't even control policy talking about international policy. Half of these Moors don't even know geography, but want to talk about what America used to be. What is it now? Amongst it are throughout it freely. Are you gonna get stuck because you in a time warp and you think you back 1,600 years ago or something, and you think they supposed to honor that?
Yeah.
Nothing that was even here 1,600 years ago. Gold is gone, the people was gone, the home is gone, the water's contaminated, the air contaminated. What are we talking about?
Yeah, and you still have to negotiate with those people, like in government, because
Right.
you know, like if you had the numbers to affect change, you can get them to listen, or you can get them out of there and put someone that represents your views in it. But you don't even have the numbers. You don't bring nothing to the table. You got to bring some money so you can buy them off. And so that's why I didn't want to ask the question. Somebody, I don't know if it was a joke, but they said, so listen, as a nation, we're siding with BRICS, right? It's like we not at that level. The BRICS, Russia, Brazil, India, China, right? They said, I just saw something saying I think China and Brazil are now going to agree to trade in their own currency instead of the US dollar. But it's like all of that stuff goes over our heads.
Yep.
We not producing anything. We consumers. So it's, you know, it's not maybe it's not all bad, because you know some ways we don't have anything to lose. We that means that we have all the potential in the world, but we're not producing.
Correct.
We're not. So it's like that's a conversation that you know we collectively aren't even ready for.
The only time we at the table is when we serve. We don't have no seat. We serve a tea.
Yep. Islam.
And then it's not even tea we made. It's not tea that was herbs we grew. We just serving it.
Yeah.
They buy us, and they tell us to go work, and that's okay. People.
Yep.
They don't want to be at the table, because the table comes accountability and responsibility.
Pressure. Yeah.
They just don't want that. They're taking care of their own children. Half these Muslims don't even take care of their, like you said, they're homeless. They don't take care of their children. They done from woman to woman, man to man, job to job, temple to temple. They're not staying, they're functional, none of that. But they say, oh, the fair zone. You still like a dunce cap. Even though I know what it is, but on you or on some of these people, the way they act, it just look like a dunce cap.
Yeah.
They make Moors and the uniform that Drew Ali gave look like a clown uniform. So, like I said, if they want the nations of the world to respect us, stop wearing fezzes with tennis shoes and jeans and t-shirts. Stuff. I mean, it's just simple stuff. We say, oh, I do what I want to. No, jeans was made for gold miners. If you're not gold mining, why are you wearing them? Tennis shoes is exactly what they call them, for tennis. But we say, oh, no, we don't know what nothing is for no more. We just do what they tell us to do, what we're marketed to do, and we just do it. Give our money to it, and that's what it is. And we teach it to the next generation. Like, oh, okay, this is what's cool. This is what's acceptable. No, this was stupid. And that's why we're in the position we're in. Because we don't know how to channel our money to our cultural experience to produce a Moore town. But you can't have a Moore town selling fried chicken. It just don't go together. That's nigga town. And so that's what I mean by Moors got to learn how to be Moors. Moors don't want to be Moors. Moors want to be some American makeshift. They say, oh, we not the U.S., but you look like you from the U.S. And I didn't say USA. All your concepts is U.S. Your actions, your dress code, your dietary laws, everything is U.S. But you want, I'm not U.S. Man, say it. How many pair of Nikes you got? That's what I mean. People not, it's too much confusion. It's too much confusion, and people don't really know. They don't want to know what the prophet actually taught. Why is he on the Constitution looking the way he looked? Why did he tell adepts in the adept chamber to eat fish and vegetables to further notice? How are you saying you an adept and you eating beef, hot dogs, and hamburgers, and lamb chops? How? It's not what the prophet taught. But these people doing all kind of stuff. But then they want to run back and say the prophet, the prophet, the prophet. They're not following the prophet. They're following themselves. And they want you to follow them so that they can feel comfortable and be elevated. The confusion really is with Moors who don't study. You don't have a whole bunch of stuff. You got nationality card. Say it again. Constitution. Questionnaire. If you look up every word on these documents, you'll be a genius. And your Holy Quran, Moorish Simple American. Now you can buy every Rod Hill book, every Taj Tariq Bey book, every book that every Moorish American wrote, and read them all. But if you have not read the Prophet Noble Drew Ali's stuff, you are a horrible Moorish American. Horrible. And that's what most people are. They don't read the Prophet's work. They don't read the Prophet's works.
Islam. Yeah, I agree. And yeah, that's definitely something you see just, across the board, even with the leadership. And if the leadership don't follow the prophet, how can they lead people in the right direction? And so that's not occurring with just one group. It's across the nation.
Yes.
So I just want to wrap this up with one last question from the chat, and then one question from me. But so I see somebody saying, "What is a body politic theocratic?" I'm assuming they're talking about the Moorish Science Temple of America. Would you like to explain that or answer that?
The theocratic government is the grand body. It is the grand sheiks across the country. They make up the grand body. As you heard me read with the letter to Lomax Bey, there are no grand governors. They don't even exist in the Moorish Science Temple of America. So the grand body is made up of grand sheiks, and that's the theocratic government that Moors be talking about, because the Prophet Noble Drew Ali is the head, chief head, supreme grand head, supreme grand chairman. And our religious institution, they're being ran by that book, the Holy Quran of Moorish Science Temple of America, which derives its authority from the Holy Quran of Mecca, makes it a theocracy. Nobody can just make up what they want. It comes from the holy book itself. And that's really that simple. But you can't say it's a theocracy, but we don't use the Holy Quran of Mecca. It can't be a theocracy with just the Holy Quran of Moorish Science Temple of America, because it derives its power and authority from the great Quran of Mecca. So if you don't use the Holy Quran of Mecca, you have no theocracy. This is why the temples are looked upon the way they are, because they do not practice Islam. So all of their claims are null and void, because of the basis of every claim is you being a Muslim, and they don't want to be. So that's a theocracy. That's our governmental structure.
What would be their power and scope of authority if it, was active?
They would operate like mayors. The Grand Sheiks would operate like mayors for Moorish Americans. We would just think if we had our own Moor towns, who would be the mayor of the Moor town? The Grand Sheik. And the Sheiks would run different districts of the Moor town. Remember, Prophet Noble Drew Ali asked them, do you want your own cities? You want your own towns? You want your own mayor? You want your own police chief? He asked them. And then in the oral statement said, if you want European ones, I get them to you too. Most Moors want European ones. That's why we got what we got today. European sheriffs, European mayors, European everything. Because we didn't want to form our own.
Islam, and for the Moors that don't really understand what he's saying, remember, we didn't all used to just live together. There was this thing called segregation.
Right.
We already had our own towns.
Yep.
And if we didn't build it, it wasn't there because nobody else was doing it for us. So what he's saying, this is, this is based in reality, right? So we gave all that up, to come into the European structure. So you're saying that the power and scope of authority is governmental, like on a municipal level.
Yes, when we do it right, that's what it was for. Think about it. The prophet had Oscar Du Priest, right? He had Louis B. Anderson, right? James Blackwell. He was moving with politicians. He was invited to the governor's inauguration. He interviewed the postmaster. This is all political. This is what the prophet was doing. And he told us to imitate our prophet. What are we doing? We don't even know the police chief or the police that patrol our community or the man who runs the head church in our community. We don't know none of that. We don't be caring. We just know that we got a few people who we fooling and getting away with to where they can pay our rent or whatever the case may be, and they can give us some money. And that's what most Moors are on. They not really on the structure part, on actually interacting with government officials and corporate officials and the people who officials need to interact with officials. But because we don't have any officials, we don't have nobody interacting with officials. And the ones who say they're officials, they're criminals. So they're scared to go interact with officials.
Islam. I was going to ask one last question, but I see another question from the chat. Are you okay with answering another?
I'm okay with clearing up whatever questions need to be cleared up.
Okay, so my good brother Jackson Bay just said, Islam, should we examine the Quran of Muhammad alone without Hadith and Sunnah?
Yes.
Islam. Would you embellish on that just a little bit for those who don't really understand that question?
The Holy Quran is the law. The Sunnah is their tradition. That's what they say. They say it's their tradition. And that's fine, but it's not ours. Our tradition is the holy books. So when it says the Quran and Sunnah, for us, the Sunnah means the holy books that precede the Holy Quran. The Bible, the Torah, the Bhagavad Gita, so on and so forth. The Hasis, all the cuneiform books, all the Zoroastrian books, all these books, all the prophets. That's the Sunnah. Because it says in the Holy Quran that Allah has the unchangeable Sunnah. So if it's unchangeable, that means the Arabs don't have their own, unless it's for them. But the unchangeable Sunnah would be the one that's for everybody. The Quran is for everybody. So the Sunnah that we use is the holy books themselves, not the traditions of the Arabs. That's the wisdom that we use as well. It says the books and the book and the wisdom. We don't follow nobody else's tradition. I'm not living in the desert. I live in the tropical rainforest of Northern California. So I don't have the same customs and traditions as they do. That's just the facts. We don't have the same history, none of that they do. So yeah, we go by the Holy Quran of Mecca. We don't go by what they call the Sunnah. I can't say we don't go by the Sunnah. I'm not going to tell you that, because I'm telling you what the Sunnah really is. It's the holy books that precede the Holy Quran. The Sharia are the laws within all the holy books, because we know the Torah has certain laws, but then you got a lot of stories. So we can't just say it's all law. The Quran has certain laws and it has a lot of stories as well. So when you talk about the Sharia, you're talking about the laws of the holy books, not the laws of the Council of Arabs who said this is what's going to be law. A Council of Arabs don't outweigh Allah in his perpetual succession of revelations. So that's what we follow. We follow that perpetual succession of revelations known as the holy books. So says the Quran. The Quran says if you're a Muslim, you got to honor all the holy books, all the prophets, and then you're supposed to protect and upkeep all of their holy places. That's what the Quran reads. What do you see most of the Arabs doing? Bombing Shia mosques, bombing Sunni mosques, bombing Buddhists. That's not Islam. That's Arab nationalism, because they're following their own traditions and Sunnah. We follow just the Quran. And I hope I answered your question.
Islam and gratitude, brother. So, one last question. Just to give everybody something positive to take away from this, some instructions, right? What advice can we give to the Moors out there? Something. The Moors that want to do something positive about the state of our nation collectively. They want to do the work.
I'm gonna say this. For one, keep watching the brother shows. Obviously, he's trying to find a way to make sure he present what Moors need to do right. The brother put out are made available to y'all. Stirring the Atheist, Clearing the Air. Watch all them videos, and then reach out if you're willing to do the work. Otherwise, you can take the information from the videos and solve your own problem if you already got these documents. If you don't, reach out, contact us, and let's see how we can help you move forward in whatever capacity that may be. That may be you just saving yourself, or that may be you setting up an institution so that you can help save others. But reach out. But when you reach out to us, make sure you're ready. Because I don't have time to play games with people who are not ready. I don't have time to check you. You have to check yourself. This is a college setting. So you're going to get the assignment. You're going to be held accountable for it. Ain't nobody going to be checking up on you. Ain't no tutoring, ain't none of that. It can be, but just off the top, no. You got to be willing to do the work. If you're not willing to do the work, like I said, there's plenty of websites where Moorish Americans can run you off as much rhetoric as you want so that you can have a nice conversation with people who don't know it. We want to make sure you have the information to do the work. If you're not going to do the work, you don't need the information. So that's what I'll say. Stay tuned to whatever the brother putting out, because I see what he's trying to do. My intention is to work with him and his family to see to it that he can get the information out to you Moors that is relevant and can change your life. If you do, contact us at the Moorish Industries and Trade Post to try to attend the adept certification training. Be ready to do the work. That's it.
All right, Islam, man, great gratitude to you, brother, for taking out the time to come and to build with us. I appreciate you. For everybody that's here, reach out to this brother. His information is in the description for the video. So all of the information, his YouTube channel, the website, contact info, all of that's in the video description. So even if you're listening to the audio of this, go to the description for this and you can get all of this brother's links. We're going to go ahead and close out. I appreciate everybody that's here. Before we do, though, I just want to remind everybody, if you appreciate, if you got some value from this, make sure that you share this broadcast. Like it wherever you're watching it, and then share it everywhere. All right? And appreciate the brother. I'm sure we'll have you back on again so that we can go further in and explain more on this topic and other topics as well. Any information that you feel is pertinent, feel free to reach out to me, and this platform is extended to you. So on that note, though, if you have any last words that you would like to say to the people, feel free to speak, brother.
Y'all won't be long. Just want to say honors to the Moors, all the Moors. You proclaim your nationality. I know it's a lot of confusion, but just to say you're Moorish American, it takes a lot of heart, a lot of courage. But when you say it, make sure you mean it. Make sure you're living up to what it means to be that. Otherwise, you're impersonating. You're misappropriating the culture. And we just want to make sure, we want to provide you with information to make sure you don't have to do that. We want to give you a choice. But it's up to you to make that choice and do the work. Nobody can save you. You have to save yourself. Prophet Noble Drew Ali didn't tell us to set up temples. He told us to save ourselves and set our houses in order. Do that. Focus on that. All this other stuff about government, let the government officials worry about that. If you're not trained, then you want to get trained, and like I said, contact us. But if you don't, then don't worry about it. Stop talking about it, because you cause confusion to the people who are actually doing the work and maybe want to do real research. So stay in your lane. It's not a bad thing. Stay in your lane. We are running this race. Stay in your lane so you don't trip up nobody else. If you love the prophet, and tell the people what the prophet has for them. Don't tell them your interpretation of it. That's where the confusion keep coming in, and then that's where the corruption come in. We're not here to tear down nobody, but we're here to tear up everything that is a detriment to this movement. So, like the brother said, if I'm welcome back, whenever I'm called back for any issue, I will address it. But make sure y'all are listening to the prophet and reading the prophet yourself, so that you can be able to relate to what's being said. Because otherwise, you're going to think it's one person just running their mouth, like that's what y'all do. But no, you should be repeating the prophet, not like a parakeet, but with understanding. And so with that, I just wish you more the best, prosperity and success, peace and love. And Allah willing, we'll meet soon. Islam.
All right, Islam, brother. Great gratitude. Thank you so much for coming on. Just want to remind everybody, make sure that you subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, check out our website, www.moorisinamerica.com. And like and share this video. We're also on Instagram, Moors in America. On Facebook, Moors in America. Also on Twitter, same thing, Moors in America. You know where to find us now. If you haven't done so already, we're on all those platforms. Peace and love, everybody.